you guys are a spooky band, and that's through and through. Avenged Sevenfold is the spooky band.
I think you should go through a bunch of different backgrounds, to be honest.
I got this still. I don't know why I have this saved.
Why do you have that? You don't drink.
I don't know. I must have. I think. Oh, when you were on our thing, I must have added it to my background when we were talking about it.
Oh, that's super cool. I need that background. Why do you have my background?
You know, I have a budget. You know.
Well, how you been, man? It's been a while since we've had a chat.
I've been good. I've been like, it's a double-edged sword because I love October because it's like my month, you know?
Right.
But also I spread myself way too thin the way it is, and then I double thin myself out in October and just say yes to everything. So like I've just been so stressed. And then I hire all the spooky kids to work on my businesses, and then I think that they're not gonna call off work around Halloween. So it's like, before this, I had to go. I have an assistant.
What do you mean? Wait. What do you mean that you hire all the spooky kids? What do you mean by that?
All my employees are all like spooky kids, like weird, alt, goth, like whatever.
Oh, okay. And they're all into the month of October year round.
Like year round. So, but like when it comes to October, like they're all doing their own thing, and I'm like, no, I need you to work. Like, this is your job. They're like, no, we're going like away for the weekend to Salem or this or that. I'm like, no, you can't do that. Like, I need you. So like,
but I mean, you're upset, but at the same time, you respect it because you're like, oh, you're going to Salem. All right, in October. I get that.
That's literally how it is every time. I'm like, oh God, I put this on myself. So it's like, not like I'm just an idiot. And then like, I'll do like, I have an event tomorrow, Sunday for like, we're doing like an oddities flea market kind of thing. I shouldn't have done it because it's like another thing on my plate that I didn't need to do. And then the bar is like...
This is the first time you're doing it? This isn't something that's annual?
No, yeah. This is what was supposed to be 2 years ago or a year and a half. Whenever like COVID started was like when we were supposed to do it. And then we had to cancel it, obviously. And then the next year after that, we're just like, we can't do it. And then this year we're like, fuck it. Let's try it out. So this is the first one, which is, it's not like the hardest thing in the world. It's just a bunch of vendors and like a space. But it's like, it takes time.
Well, what kind of, so when you say an oddities flea market, is this kind of, so I know you about, or I know about you and your collector's items and all the shit that we've talked about over the last couple of years. Is this flea market a place where you're going to be able to go get these human skulls and skin wrapped books? I mean, is that what we're talking about?
I don't think it'll be like that crazy. It's mostly just like a craft fair, like an elevated craft fair. So basically it'll be like, there's a bunch of photographers selling prints. There's like the Strange and Unusual. My business will have a booth there. There'll be a couple other booth there's like there'll be a couple that are, like there's this one guy, they're called the Kobolds, and they have like a huge 18-foot display of all just different taxidermy. Like they'll sell like a bunch of shit, like from like giraffes to ostriches and like all this crazy shit because they own a farm. So whenever anything passes away, they stuff it and sell it, you know, they mount it and sell it. So like there'll be stuff like that. There'll be like human bones and things like that. And there'll also be like little crafts, like little purses, like people like hand sewn purses. And there's also, we're doing flash tattoos at it. Like we have a tattoo parlor there doing flash tattoos. And
what's a flash tattoo as opposed to a regular tattoo?
A flash tattoo is like a 30-minute like jammer, like a little like, like a thing that literally takes 30 minutes is like a flash piece, 30 minutes.
Well, you can make anything to take 30 minutes. You just, if
honestly, you really can. Like it's anything
it's not going to come out good, but
yeah, that's fair. Anything that takes like no time is a flash. So I mean, technically you can make anything a flash, but it's like little squiggles.
When you're mentioning the taxidermy stuff, I was thinking in my head, obviously Zach has this taxidermy lion in his fucking house. And I've always loved that, but I always get back to this thought process, and I wonder if anyone's done it before. I think I want to be taxidermied when I die, and like put up in someone's house. And I'm wondering, you would be the man to ask. Like, have you ever heard of anyone that's actually gone through with that and being taxidermied?
So it's called plastinated. Like people get like, so that's like one thing I want in my collection is I want a plastinated human. I got offered a mummified human before, but not a plastinated. So you ever go to the bodies exhibit, and they have them all over?
Yes.
There's like
Yeah.
So
I love the bodies museum. I've actually gone 4 or 5 times. But wherever, the first time I think I did it was in NYC, and then it travels a little bit, and I've seen it in a couple other places as well.
So that's basically what you'd have to do. You have to donate your body to science and then get plastinated. But it's like a process. It's like not like it's not the easiest thing to do, but like that's what like one thing I want in my collection is a plastinated human. Because I think that'd be so fucking cool. I mean, I have like human skeletons, but I feel like that's not the same. Like
no, I want to be like the Buddy Christ, like just like chilling.
That'd be so sick.
Like, and just like I'd be like, someone could have this. Someone could have this for whatever they want, you know.
I think So I think if I were to have you as a plastinated human, I think that would probably fetch probably $100,000.
That's it. Come on. I mean, it's fucking. That's it.
You're a bass player. What do you mean?
That's fair. That's fair.
Fucked up. I'm a keyboard player, so I'm the bass player's left hand, so it's not much better. So
let's talk. I'm glad you brought that up because I don't think we've actually talked. I mean, we've had many conversations over the last couple of years as we talked about. I don't think I've ever asked you about your time in Motionless in White and being on the keyboards there.
I honestly forget about it all the time, which is really random because it was such a giant. I toured for. I mean, it was a decade of my life. Like, especially because I'm only 32 years old, so a decade of my life is legit. A third of my life was in that band, and it was amazing. I loved it. We did such amazing things, and being from from when it's basically when it started to where it grew to before I quit was just something so insanely amazing. Like I remember, I'm sure you guys went through it, the same shit, like sleeping in people's houses and like touring in a van and like eating dollar fucking menu shit to then touring in
Golden Arches. Every time you saw the Golden Arches was a fucking dream come true.
Honestly, our per diem on every tour per person a day was $5. That's all we made.
Wait, you guys had a per diem? No, we had to pull out of our own fucking pockets.
We had no money, so we would sell our merch. So here's what bands don't do that we did, which was super smart because we were like all straight edge dudes. Like, so we didn't go out and party. What we did was like, all right, how do we figure this out? So we'd throw hometown shows. Like we'd be the promoter. We'd throw it. We'd put like all of our friends' bands on, and then we'd take that money. We'd pay out the bands, and then we'd take the rest of the money and put it in a pot. So when we went on tour, we would have let's say it was probably like $1,000, $2,000, but
fucking smart.
We always did basically East Coast bangers, like, cause it's the best. Cause it's like 2 to 4 or 5 hour drives. So we'd throw shows, put it in a pot and then do those. So like any merch we sold, we'd take the merch money and give each other $5 for, cause then we would go to the McDonald's or Burger King, get off the dollar menu. I used to call it, I think we called it the flying chicken, where you'd get a double cheeseburger and a McChicken, and you take the bun off the McChicken, you put the McChicken in between the 2 pieces of meat.
Whoa!
So it's a flying chicken,
Wow, I've never done that.
Or the flying
Makes
cow.
a lot of sense.
Was it called the flying cow? Something like that. I forget what we used to call it. It was stupid. But I also
either way, I mean you're losing calories though when you're trying to consume calories. If you can afford both sandwiches, eat both sandwiches.
That's fair. We should have. We were just like idiots. But it's crazy. Like, I grew up poor. Like, I had no money. Like, when I started playing Emotionless, I lived in a single wide trailer in a trailer park. And
this is from your family? This is how you grew up?
Yeah. I was 16 when I started with Motionless.
Oh shit.
So it was like one of those things where it was like I was still living with my parents. I mean, obviously up until like I was 20 something, I was still living with either my grandmother or my parents. I couldn't afford. Motionless didn't start making money until like 5 or 6 years in, So it was like, I remember I had an apartment with our old drummer, Angelo, and it was $400 a month. It was $200 each. And I had to move out because I couldn't afford the $200 a month.
Wow.
So it was like a lot of hustling because I didn't have money. I didn't have parents didn't give me any money or anything like that. I had to have a job. I used to work at Kmart as a cashier. Just hustled and did like weird shit, but it was definitely, it made me who I am. I'll never take it back. But then, it grew and grew and grew and became a fucking monster. And like we did we did great things in the 10 years that I was in. You know, I toured everywhere. We played some of the biggest festivals. We've played with some of the biggest bands like yours. Like we played a couple festivals with you guys randomly. Yeah. And it was just one of those things that I still think they're going to be such a giant band. You know, they're still growing. And I would say in another 5 to 10 years, they'll be headlining those festivals, hopefully. But it just wasn't the right vibe for me. It turned into too much of a business, and it started like me and Chris, the singer, started butting heads too much. And my personality is like a leader personality, and to be a keyboard player in a band when you try to say like, no, like I don't think that's a good idea. They're just like, no one cares what you're saying. And I'm like, all right, well, fuck me, because I had other businesses at the time, and I was like, I weighed it, and I was like, I was happier outside of the band. And one day I was like, I'd rather be home. And I just went, all right, fuck this. I'm going to quit. And I just quit.
Wow. And when you say that you were in the band when they started making money and you had other businesses, I've always been curious, what were those other businesses that you had that were lucrative, obviously, because now 6 years later, let's say, you've ran your own business. You have your bar, your restaurant, you have the Strange and Unusual, you have all these things going on. And you said you were with Motionless as they started making money, and you came from nothing. So just talk me through it a little bit economically. What was the mindset economically with everything that was happening?
So I started using my platform. I think what most band dudes lack to do is like, they put pride before the horse, and that's what kills them. And what me, when I was like, well, I'm going to build myself as a brand. You know, I took the model of like basically the Slipknot model and the Kiss model, and like that's what Motionless did. And we made each other a character. So I was Balz as a character. Chris was Chris as a character. Ricky was Ricky. So I built myself as a brand. So I mean, the first time me side hustling was a clothing company actually hit me up and was like, yo, let's do shirts that say I Heart Balz on them. They're like, that's hilarious. Like, and I was like, it's kind of weird, but whatever, fuck it. It's an extra income source. So we launched this little like clothing thing it said I Heart JB, and then I Heart Balz. I Heart JB was basically, that's when like Justin Bieber came out. So in the heart was actually a picture of me, and it said I Heart JB. So it was all these little girls buying I Heart JB shirts, and it was me. So I was like capitalizing off of I'm the original JB, so he stole my thunder.
You're a swindler. You're a swindler, by the way.
Oh yeah, I'm a fucking. I'll hustle through and through. And then I sure it says I Heart Balz, which people just think it was a funny way to say BALS, but realistically it was my name. So like it had double things. So I was making a couple $1,000 off that, you know. And back then that was like crazy. I had maybe $35 in my bank account. So like
making a couple grand on that. I mean, that's also pretty much passive income when you describe it that way.
Yeah. And then like randomly through Motionless, I started collecting dead shit while we were on tour, because I'd be like, oh, you know, we'd be in these random towns. You know how it is. You play for an hour, you have 23 other hours to fill. So I would go to these like antique stores and buy shit. And like, I would come home and then put it in my garage, And then after a couple of years, I had a plethora of shit. So I started the Strange and Unusual in 2013, which was a tiny little store in Kingston, Pennsylvania. And it just grew and grew and grew. So it's
for the listeners and viewers right now, can you describe what Strange and Unusual is for everyone? And because you just said collectors and you're collecting stuff, putting it in the garage. Let's get into what the items are, what's really about that, and what's behind the idea.
So I think the Strange and Unusual is it's so perfect because it is a little bit of everything. You know, we have everything from bath bombs to Victorian furniture to human skulls to horses in jars to antique mirrors and stuff like that. So it's just one of those places that's an experience. The Strange and Unusual, we sell anything that is just out of the norm, anything you can't get at a normal place, like we sell. And it's a big common misconception is people just think we sell dead shit, which is honestly, it's like 50-50. The other 50 is like we sell like our own. The Strange and Unusual is basically a little bit of a clothing brand. It's a little bit of a bath and beauty. We sell lotions and bath bombs that are shaped like coffins and skulls. Like it stays on theme of like weird shit, but it's like still like accessible stuff, and we sell human skulls, and we have wet specimens, which can be anything from like a spider in a jar to a centipede in a jar to a bird in a jar to a horse in a jar to a shark in a jar, like something that you'd get like at Ocean City at the
A shark in a jar. So a lot of people's minds will go to a full adult shark.
That would be amazing. It's like shark pups, like little shark pups. I didn't know if I was like
I'm
selling
picturing,
great
like,
whites.
You ever see the movie Why Him with what's his name?
Russell Brand?
No, it's not Russell Brand. It's Franco, James Franco.
James Franco. Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
And he has the wet like buffalo or something like that, and then he, like it just makes it like I'm thinking of like an adult like fucking shark, great white in one of those.
That'd be so sick. There is a Damien Hurst. I think that's a Damien Hurst piece. It's like an actual art piece of like. So he used to take full size sharks, like big animals, and he'd encapsulate them in resin. And it's like one of the coolest things in the world. His name is Damien Hurst. He's like he's like a multi-million-dollar artist that has like the craziest shit. Except now he's doing like dots on artwork and selling them for like $20,000. It's goofy. But yeah, the Strange and Unusual is just it's honestly an experience. You know, we sell everything and anything, honestly. We're a glorified antique store for weirdos and the alternative people. But we also, like, our demographic is huge. Like, we have 16-year-olds and we have 45-year-olds, 50-year-olds, 60-year-olds that come into the shop, women and men. Soccer moms to your like person pulling in a hearse, and
how many people are coming? This is a more serious question. How many people are coming in just to see the shop, and how many people are really purchasing items, or are they coming in to see the shop and then they'll leave with a bar of soap? You know what I mean?
So a lot of people leave with something. I would say 70% is customer retention, has like that. But they'll at least get something because they were like, oh, I made the trip here, might as well get something, whether it's a rabbit foot for $5 or, like you said, a bar of soap or a bath bomb, or like just really popular for people that are just like going out. But like we sell a ton of t-shirts. So like people will make a trip. Like people were in from LA the other day and they were like passing through and they made it. We were on their route to like go to Salem or something. Right. And they stopped and like they wanted a t-shirt and stuff like that. So, I mean, honestly, it's pretty high because we are like a staple now. Like we are like one of the only, there's not a lot of oddity shops, and we are like one of the biggest.
I've traveled around this country many times. I have not been to very many oddity shops.
No,
I'm very curious about this.
There's honestly like 5 or 6, and I have the biggest one, which is amazing.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's like to think about.
And where exactly is it? So the listeners, anyone when they're passing by, maybe they check it out.
So we're in Kingston, Pennsylvania, where if like you know anything about Pennsylvania, you probably don't know what Kingston, Pennsylvania is. It's right. Northeast Pennsylvania. So if you've heard of The Office, which is in Scranton, Pennsylvania, that's like right here. We're like 20 minutes from Scranton. So if like if you've heard of The Office, that's kind of where we're from.
No one's heard of The Office. No one has any idea what The Office is. They're all gonna have to Google it.
Even from being here, it's my favorite show in existence. And when they took it off Netflix, I like lost my mind a little bit. I have nothing to fall asleep to anymore. No, fuck no. I'm cheap as fuck.
Are you kidding me? It's not that. There's like a free version too. If you're that fucking cheap.
Like I am that cheap. I'm that guy who will like, because think about it. Like you got Hulu, Netflix, like whatever, Disney Plus, Peacock, all this stuff. You're spending like $30 or $40 a month.
I'm spending more than that on all my subscriptions. But
well, that's like, what I'm saying. Like I'm cheap as fuck.
Well, did you have cable or satellite before?
No.
Oh, well, then I can't help you, my son.
I usually like, so for a long time, I stole my friend Shane's Netflix password, Netflix login. And I stole my friend Aaron's Hulu password. Anywhere I can save money, I'll be a piece of shit. Like, I'm okay with it. Like, I'm a piece of shit.
I'm very, I'd say I'm pretty frugal on stuff, especially lately. I've been, reassessing a lot of things. I was like, oh, well, I'm spending a lot of money here. I probably shouldn't do that. I don't even know why I'm spending that money over there. So I've gone over my expenses a couple of times and became a little bit more frugal. But I mean, a Peacock account, like, come on, dude, it's $10.
$10 over here. It's $120.
Oh man.
Wait.
When you grow up with
nothing,
you said $120 for the year, okay? How much does one of your human skulls run?
$1,200. You know what's funny is like I have an $8,000 human face in a jar like sitting on my like mantle at my house, like amongst other things, but I won't spend $10 a month.
What
on
is it
peacock.
amongst? I want to know, like, if you have a human face up on your mantle and you said amongst other things on this mantle, what goes with that theme? What else is up there?
So on that fireplace mantle, I have a human face, a lion, a.
Wait, how do you have a whole lion up there?
I have 2 lions on. I have on each of my fireplaces in my house.
Wait. How big are your fucking mantles? What I mean, you say lion. What are we talking? We're talking cubs. We're talking
those. So those are full-size mountain lions. So they're like the size of a panther. I do have a full-size African lion that's at my store. So I have 3 lions. Three. So a mountain lion is about the size of like a. I would say maybe like double the size of a golden retriever.
Okay.
So it's like on like a prowl thing. So it
How
looks
big
like
is
it's
your
walking.
fucking fireplace?
It's pretty big.
Like Jesus Christ! I'm thinking about my fireplace. I've got fireplace envy now. Like
I would say it's a little bit smaller than the bar that's behind you, like the granite.
That's just the fireplace.
Yeah. So the house I got a house that's it's an old Victorian house in Pennsylvania, and it's like it's fucking amazing. It was crazy. It's like 7,000 square feet, and it's just I've been renovating it. It like was a little shitty when I bought it because I got it at a really good price, and I've been renovating it, but it's got some really good sized fireplaces.
I mean, 7,000 square feet in Pennsylvania. What did that run you at the initial cost? I mean, it's going to be worth more now, and you got everything into it. What was the initial cost?
So it cost me a few $100,000, but I'll probably put another couple $100,000 into it, and it'll probably be worth like $750,000, something like that.
So now I don't have fireplace envy anymore because now I'm thinking about what my fireplace costs in Southern California versus the fireplace that you're talking about. I'm like, okay. We're okay.
So do you own your house or do you lease or
I
rent?
own my house. I own my
So
house.
it probably cost you $5 million if for like 1,000 square feet is like $5 million out there. So it's disgusting. Like it's
you get what you pay for though, man. I don't want to leave California. I mean, I'm born and raised though. I'm born and raised though. So I mean,
yeah.
There's many times I love many of the places I've traveled and but this is the place where I feel home, you know.
And this is where I grew up too. So
that makes sense, you know.
Yeah. Bobby, you know Bobby Shabinsky tries to get me to move to California all the time. And I'm like, what's out there for me? I'm like, what? He's like, well, you can be in studio at for our Twitch for Space Zebra. And I was like, okay, or I can just put a background up and be there.
Which, by the way, I want to talk about your background. You have the filthy IPA background, which I really appreciate. But you know, I'm kind of tired of seeing it. I liked before we hit record. You had a bunch of other backgrounds.
Well, I mean, I could be like,
ooh, where is this? This looks like you're in some techie place.
This is a newsroom.
Newsroom.
As you can tell, I changed the camera quick. This is the other half of my office. This is a newsroom.
I mean, you do have a 7,000 square foot home, so I mean,
actually, this is in my office. At my office, I have an office in.
You have an office in your office, but you can't even do it in your 7,000 square foot home. Okay,
I'm moving it to my house, I think, because it's like a pain. I just
want to just talked about how frugal you are. I'm like, why are you spending money on an office then if you got 7,000 square feet?
Because I want to go to the beach.
You want to go to the beach? Yeah, that looks like Bali.
Yeah, I've never been. I need to take a
I haven't either. I've heard many things. I have many friends who have been, and those little yurts that are above the water look really sick. Oh, where is this? This looks like the Amazon.
What about this? Hold on. 2 dicks.
That's the winner. That's the winner for the rest of the show. Thank you very much for that. Anyone who's listening, they could go over to YouTube right now and see Josh Balz. He is actually the balls in the middle of 2 dicks.
Exactly. I thought it was super funny when I saved this. I was like, this is good. I was like,
I love that they're like coming out on either side too. They're not twisted or anything. They're just like, here we are.
I don't know. I was just
Middle. What's in the middle there?
I don't know.
Move over again. I want to see that.
So it looks like a cast iron molding of two dicks.
Yeah. Like, what is that? That's amazing. It looks like that's someone's like truck hitch or something.
Yeah.
That's fucking amazing.
Instead of having balls, they have dicks. So you know, just that. But no, yeah, I had an office for a while because I started a root beer company.
Oh yeah, that's right. I heard about that. How's that going?
It's doing so well. And that's why we kind of got the office, because we were trying to build like this like situation, but it's doing so well that it's stressful. It's like one of those things. Like I had a phone call today with someone. They're like, "Hey, what's up?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I'm just fucking stressed." They're like, "Why?" And I was like, "Everything's going so well, like business wise, that it's stressful. Like things are doing well, and I don't know what to think about it, and I don't know why." And I was just like,
are you one of these guys? I can be this way, where when things are going really well, you're worried about the impending doom. You're worried about the fall because you know it's gonna come.
Well, I'm always in survival mode, so it's like, all right. So how do I keep this going? And then once it dips, you're like, all right, well, this, and this, yeah, it like stresses me out. Like, what do you do in those situations where you're just like, it's going too well?
You know, I've struggled with that a lot. In my life, and I've always been the one like, I'm never gonna see another dime. I'm never gonna do it. Like I have to work with what I have today, not what believe I'm going to have in the future, not what I had in the past. I have to work with what I have today.
I need to do the same. I need to learn that. Yeah.
Well, it was the first few times you start thinking like that, it's still stressful because then you're really still it is so hard to not think about the future. It is so fucking difficult. And I don't mean for people listening, I don't mean like you just negate the future and you're taking this day to make the next day better. And that's kind of become my new thing is like at the end of the day, whatever stress or anything that's been going on, I need to be able to turn it off because at a certain time, it's like nothing is going to change what I've already done today.
Yeah.
Now it's turn it off and restart tomorrow. Because at a certain time, you're piling on the shit at a certain point, and then you're not even giving it your all because now you're spreading yourself over all these fucking different things. It's like just compartment it, you know. Take this as the day that it is. This is what I'm going to do with it. Reevaluate it at the end of the day. For me, when you're about to have a glass of wine or whatever at the end of the night, and just go, okay, this is what I did. Cool. Move on to the next day.
Yeah, it's crazy. I try to do that, and then I'm a yes man. Like always will say yes because that's like I'm growing. I'm 30. Like I said, I'm 32, and I'm like trying to grow myself and like make a legacy for myself. Because I've always like I want to make a legacy. I think that's like especially for our area.
Legacy. What would be your legacy? That's a question because a lot of people say they want to make a legacy. They want to make that, and I respect that totally. I understand it. The want to have that, especially I get that from having a son now. That's my legacy, you know. So if for those who don't have a child, and I was there for most of my life, what is the legacy to you? What is something that you want to leave your stamp on this world?
Mine is for my area, honestly. Like we have a very left side and a right side, and that's how it is. You know, we're very like they call us Pennsyltucky, and I just want to I want to open people's minds to be able to be like, so when people live here, their first thing when they get old enough, they go, oh man, I can't wait to save up and get out of this place. I can't wait to go to New York City or LA and stuff like this. I was like, I want to make my stamp on this area where people go, man, I can't wait to leave LA and go to Northeast Pennsylvania. Like, I can't wait to I want to make people proud to live in our area. I think that's so I want to build
I got to backtrack. You're going to get people to leave LA to go there? I'm sorry. I don't like proper LA. I'll say that right now.
I love Orange County all day. Orange County is
I don't
not
like
LA.
I fucking hate LA.
Orange County is not LA. I refuse to acknowledge that as LA. LA is LA.
You know, but and I'm glad that you've traveled enough to know that a lot of people would be like, oh, Southern California, LA, they lump it all together. And I'm like, these are two very different fucking places.
Orange County and Anaheim and that shit are very different from, you know, like once you pass that into like Hollywood, LA,
Well,
and
that's
that
what
little
happens.
bubble.
Once you get just you're into Long Beach. As you're traveling north from Orange County, you're into Long Beach in 20 minutes. This is still cool. This is still cool. And then about 35 minutes in, you start to get into LA. And you're like, oh, fuck. And everything, like everything changes. Like the traffic, the look, everything changes. Like right at that 35-minute mark.
Yeah. So it's like one of those things where you're just like,
I get, okay. So to that point though, I get like LA. If you live in proper LA, go somewhere else. But I mean, where's you're still gonna lose the weather. That's the problem.
it's starting to get cold here.
Like,
It's starting to get real cold.
I mean, I like the seasons. Don't get me wrong, but I like to visit the seasons. This is the brilliance of being in Orange County, California. I can drive to the seasons. Like,
I would
everyone's
like
like,
to
oh, you don't get
separate
seasons.
house.
I'm like, I can drive an hour and go to Big Bear and
That's
get
true.
snow and mountains. I can drive anywhere and get seasons if I want them.
Like two, it's so the big thing about Pennsylvania, it's costs. Like
Okay, you do win on that. You have a 7,000 square foot home.
I have 4 houses here. I have 4.
No, you have 4 houses. Do you rent the
Yes.
other ones out?
Yeah. So it's like
Smart,
for
dude.
what
Passive
it costs.
income.
So whatever
Smart
it
man.
costs you to live there, you can have like 5 houses here. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
it's one of those things where it's like I've always wanted a church. I was like, I want a church. I think it's one thing that was on my list, and I fucking bought one. And I thought it was in Pennsylvania, Northeast Pennsylvania. You can
You own
buy
a
one.
church?
Yep. I have a 14,000 square foot church with 45-foot ceilings, and it's beautiful. It's amazing.
You rent it out to a flock.
So-
are they currently using it?
So what I do is I have the back, like the sacristy in the back. I rent it out to my friend to live there, and then I use the front as storage and warehouse, which I want to make it a production studio. Is kind of what I'm gonna eventually do with that. I bought it to be my house, and I started like renovating it and building. I was like, this is too fucking much. Like this is like
you
pain.
were gonna turn a church into your house. That's awesome.
Yeah, but it was just like too much, and I was like stressful. So I like went and bought another house, and then I have 2 other smaller houses that I rent out, which is nice. So it's
I want to
like
get back to. I like the other houses too, but I want to stick on this church thing here for a second because I have this mental image of like.
I'll show you a picture of it.
Walking the Walking Dead.
not really. I never really got into it. I never had the
Really?
time to it was so far in by the time I even like thought about getting into it.
Oh, that's right.
that
And you don't want to pay for a subscription, so you can't just get yourself caught up. Okay. So
you know me so well.
anyways, I'm thinking of like a Pennsylvania church, like old school Victorian church. Did you get down in the basement? I mean, how many years have you owned it? Have you really checked
3 years.
every square inch and everything? You own that?
Yeah,
Dude, I want to do my show out of there. Can I just?
sure. I want to make it a production studio.
Christ
That's like
goes into fucking church and does his
That's
show out
sick.
of there. That's what I
that'd
would
be
love
awesome.
that.
I'll show you the inside. Hold on, I found a picture. But no, I've there's some spaces I still want to go and search inside. There's under these floorboards that I have like an inkling that there's a bunch of weird shit under that I want to
There
rip
has
off
to be.
anyway.
There has to
Oh
be.
yeah. Here's the inside. Come on,
Dude, it's
focus.
like in really good shape. This is not what I was picturing at all. I was thinking like end of the fucking days fucking church. This is a
Is it?
gorgeous church.
I don't know if it's focusing. There you go.
There it is. Now it is. I got you now.
So it's
Dude, that is-
amazing.
And how much does a church run you in Pennsylvania, sir?
Enough.
I don't mean I know I'm prying a little bit about like and I don't mean to show
So
your-
in
your
Northeast
showcase or anything like that, but I'm curious of the real estate. Like it's not about what you've spent. It's about like I've never thought of buying a church in Southern California. That would be an insane amount of money, and there would be no reason for me to do it. Why? Like out there, it's got to be something that's like it makes a little sense that you can just go like, fuck it, I want to buy a church.
It honestly that's the price. It was like so when I got it, and I mean I had to I had to redo electrical, plumbing. I had to put like fix the roof. So it was like I put a decent amount into it, but I mean it was like under $100,000.
Wow.
which is crazy to have like something that big, you know.
And have you
like,
found anything cool or surprising in your searches through all these different rooms or anything?
not really, because there was like for a couple years people broke in, like stole shit. So I think it was cool. Like the only cool thing that was like really left behind was there was an original confessional booth that was for the church, which I have, which I like.
Did you put a glory hole in it? Be honest.
No, I'm gonna make a photo.
Oh, there was already one there. There was already one there.
You know what's really weird? All right, so the back rooms where the priest would get changed and stuff like that, there's these 3 random doors like up top, and I'm like, man, I bet you that's where you kept the kids. Like that's where you hid the children.
Was it? Do you know like the origin of this church? Was it a Catholic church?
Yeah, it was. It was a Lithuanian. So it was a
offshoot.
Catholic.
Lithuanian's an offshoot of, but still very Catholic. It's just one of the. It's like calling Christian and Baptist or something like that.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So it doesn't have a weird energy. Like to me, it doesn't. Like I don't feel any weird vibes. Like I had less vibes sleeping there than sleeping at my new house, which was that. I mean, my new house is, so the church was built in 1905 and the house I live in now was built in 1883. Wow. So there's like a few years difference where like it's just a little spookier.
So I had a conversation with Wes Borland, and right off the bat, I'm not so big on the supernatural afterlife stuff, spirituals. I don't believe in ghosts, basically. Like I just haven't. It's not that I discredit people who have shared their stories about it. It's just I feel like there's always a scientific answer that makes more logical sense in those stories, and because that I have not felt something myself. So it's believe what you want, everything like that. This is just I haven't experienced that. You're going into churches, old houses, and you're talking about a vibe you feel when you go in there. Have you had any hauntings in these, 5 houses that you have, or churches or whatever?
I've definitely had feelings in, especially in my old store. So we recently, 3 years ago, we moved our store, but the old one, there was times where the door would just open right up, and it would just close. There would be like a weird smell of perfume.
Did you feel anything when that door would open like that, or was it like a gust of wind?
I thought it was a gust of wind, but it's never happened before ever. And the door wasn't flat. It was it was like in a thing. So you'd have to like go in and pull it open. So it was like
pocket door. It was a pocket door.
Yeah. So it was like shouldn't have.
Again, now my fucking weird logical brain is trying to go like, well, if it was never put on a right way, it could be just slanted a little bit and you wouldn't even realize it.
But it was a commercial door.
A commercial door.
Yeah, so it was like this front of my store, like you'd walk in, not a pocket door, not like the ones that go in.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. So yeah.
It's funny because I have this dick right here. So
yeah. Wait, grab it.
But it went in, and then so it was like the front of the store was here, and then the door was in right here. So it was like
I can't look at that anymore. You're playing around with it. I'm trying to listen to the story, and I'm trying to imagine.
You know what's funny is like
I'm trying to imagine the story, but then I look up and your hands are literally all over that dick.
So I mean, I've never had true experiences where it was like a visual representation of something, but I believe in the energy of what it is. And I definitely believe there is other entities out there, but I think it leaves me alone because I like respect it and I agree with it. And it's like, it is what it is. It's out there. It's a piece of everything. Like,
how do you agree with it?
because it has to exist. How does it not exist? That's how I agree with it. It was like, there has to be separate entities in this world that exist. There has to be.
I absolutely agree with that. I believe in the world that we live in is a world of infinite possibilities. We learn that more and more every day, in my opinion. Different dimensions. See, that's part of my logical brain. Some of it is like, well, that's not a. Can we describe it as a ghost? Sure, but is it possible that it could be something coming in from a different dimension for a moment?
That's what I would say. But so I wrote that in with the same. To be completely honest, it's like. Like dimensional spirituality and ghosts and apparitions, I rope into the same thing because it's the same shit. It's like
I could vibe with that. I could totally vibe with that because I can understand why, like, At any point in time in the world of infinite possibilities, if we've thought it, it's probably happened, right? But we don't know how to describe it. I feel like we're always behind on the description of what we're seeing or feeling.
And I feel like you can only your brain can almost and your eyes can only formulate so much, especially like you said, if you've never seen it. Like I know Wes, when I talked to Wes about his Detroit house, he said there was a woman that he saw. Like there was no ifs, ands, or buts. She was there. So, I mean, I just think it depends on, because we are, as a human race, we don't use our full brains. And some people do. Some people use more or less. Like Wes Borland is an intelligent motherfucker.
Yes, he is.
And I think he uses more of his brain than most people. So I feel like if you put yourself and open your brain to be able to accept that, I think your brain allows it. And like, that's what I think it is. I think if you are like
it's a higher consciousness, is that what you're going at?
Yeah. So I think there's fucking, like, I'm a fucking idiot. Like Wes is intelligent. There's some like idiots and there's intelligent people. Like it's so vastly different of the intelligence of people, because the way I see it is like, there's 5-year-olds that can solve arithmetic, like 7-year-olds. Mm-hmm. That's not taught by their parents.
No, there's
you know what I mean? Like,
there's absolutely no rhyme or I mean, I look at my son already and he's fucking smarter than me, and I'm like, oh fuck, you know. I love it because it's really cool to see, but like to that point though, like it's intelligence isn't learned as much as everyone thinks it is. It's not going to college.
I think it's unlocking what you already possess,
right?
And some people have those doors, and some people don't have those doors. Like, I think the human species is so crazily appreciated, undervalued, and no one is caring about like when you think about it, like we are standing on 2 fucking legs, walking, driving cars, writing, talking to each other. That's incredible.
Right.
Like, and we take it for granted every day. There are some people that can't see. There are some people that can't talk, that can't walk. Like, it's insane that like we are, and that's why I do believe in. There's so much out there that we'll never tap into. We never will. Like,
not in our lifetimes. I mean, when you think of the infinity of vast knowledge, like you're right. How do you tap into infinity? You don't. You enjoy the time that you have. That's what I've actually learned, and that's how I feel about this body and this life and everything. Is I'm here right now. This is me right now. I'm made up of everything in the fucking universe. You are. This fucking desk is. This table is. Everything's made up of the same shit when you really think about it. It's all the same shit.
Yeah.
Like it all came from this vast universe, and it became chicken nuggets. But he just changed his background for those of you listening, not watching. It just, we all come from the same shit at the bottom dollar, right?
Yeah.
And when you realize that, then you go like, well, what the fuck happens afterward? Well, maybe you just go back into the abyss. Maybe you just go back into creating and being. Maybe that is the reincarnation. I don't know. This is just like my thoughts. This isn't a religion or anything like that. Maybe that is the reincarnation. Maybe parts of me is going to become a plant. Parts of me is going to become a fucking serial killer. I don't know. But like, it's all becoming one thing. And in that, when I think of those elements, I think of the fact that I'm just here for this, however long it's been decided that I'm going to get to slow down and view the world through this scope. And then I go right back out to the universe and everything's way faster. Yeah. This is my slow down moment. This is where I get to sit down and look through this scope. And maybe I get another scope later, but I don't fucking know. This is my scope right now. So I'm going to use this for whatever the fuck I want.
I agree. It's crazy to like, it's crazy. I need to slow down is where the basis of this question needs to like happen. It was like, I need to accept that the things that are doing well, I don't need more because I can, you know what I mean? Like,
you don't get to take any of that shit with you, Josh. You don't get to take any of that when you go back to the universe, when you go back to the abyss, when you go back to, if you believe in an afterlife, if you don't, whatever, if you don't even get to take it to hell with you if you believe in that.
So I mean, all right. So one big thing I want to do in this life, and I think I would end and stop starting new businesses. I would really want. So I want an amusement park. Like I want it to be, but I want it to be very like
an oddities amusement park.
Yeah, but like it's almost like you stepped in a world of Tim Burton, like almost
Ooh.
like when Disney does Halloween, but all year round, where it's not like I want to build like fall foliage in the entire amusement park. So you're always in fall, and everything
I have
has
a thought here, Josh. I have a thought here, and if you're okay with it, I will run this part of the theme park. You get a gigantic whale, elephant, something like that, something big enough and you create a ride within its body. Something there. This is off the cuff here, so I could refine this idea later. But like, or even if you did something bigger, where you get the bones of a megalodon or something like that, and build a ride around that, because then they want to tie into your strange and unusual shit, right?
That's exactly what I want. Like when you enter, I want to enter through a very wistful, like very Sleepy Hollow, very strange and unusual, very Tim Burton-esque. But on the Disney side, because I love Disney, and I like the weird shit they do, like when Disney goes like does spooky shit, or like,
oh dude, it's so much fun. I just took my son to California Adventure, and we did like the whole spooky scenes there. It was super fun. You can't deny Disney's imagery. You just can't.
Oh, amazing. They're like their team, and they have there's an untouchable amount of money, you know what I mean? Where they can like, oh, I have this idea, and then it can come to life with animatronics and props and this and that. And like,
side note, real quick, do you think Walt is coming back at any point?
I never thought about that.
We're getting closer and closer to that technology, and he's still frozen. I wonder if Walt's actually going to get woken up and actually get to see the brilliance of what he's created, and how many things have been bought, and why it's like the biggest company in the fucking world.
I mean, why not? Holy shit.
It's got to happen at some point. There's enough money in it.
Within the next 50 years, I think it's a possibility. It's a very, very
I hope I'm around for that. I just want that, like, holy shit, someone did that. Holy shit,
he'd be the one.
Did that. Yeah.
He'd definitely be the one. That'd be fucking wild. That's crazy. But I want to be the next Walt Disney, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I love that. Let's get back to that, because that's a great legacy and a great aspiration, to open up your own theme park and create and be the next Walt Disney, but of the strange and unusual.
Yeah, I want it, because think about how big our world is. I mean, think about Avenged Sevenfold playing a fucking festival. How many people are there? 50,000 people.
Right.
And you guys are a spooky band. Like, whether you like it or not, like the grain of Avenged Sevenfold is a spooky band. Like, let's be real. Like, you guys can go into the rock world. Never
described us as a spooky band. That's my favorite thing. You can
go into the rock world as much as you want. You guys are a spooky band, and that's through and through. Avenged Sevenfold is a spooky band. So I mean, when you do music videos, when you're fucking doing a solo, getting raised up a casket, you're a spooky band.
Oh, come on. That was an homage to Guns N' Roses, and we all know it.
I understand that, but you guys are. I'm not taking that. I'm not taking that comment back. I'll take it to the grave.
Spooky band. But that's gonna be the blabbermouth right there. It's like a Avenged Sevenfold's a spooky band.
They'll pick it up. There you go.
Yeah.
But that world is so ginormous. When people tell me that Strange and Unusual is going to fail because no one likes that shit, and to do millions is a multi-million-dollar thing, as the Strange and Unusual is, or Blackcraft is a $20 million+ company, right, and DWP is selling out festivals with headliners like Rob Zombie, The Misfits, Avenged Sevenfold. Like, we rule the world. Like, there's no, obviously there's fucking stupid. Like, I mean, obviously I like Justin Bieber. I like that world, but
there's no denying that. See, here's the thing. Like, real quick, you're tiptoeing around it a little bit, but I'll just get right into it. The pop world, and especially for us spooky bands or us spooky people, you look over at it and you go like, oh, well, I'm going to pick that apart. I'm going to pick everything that I can about that because I don't like it.
Yeah.
It's okay not to like it. But the reason why it's pop, even in the name, everyone forgets pop is popular. It's short for popular music. There's a reason why it's popular, people. Everyone fucking loves it. I listen to a Taylor Swift song and I'm like, oh, that's a fucking good jam. That's a fucking good. There's a couple where she's dropped a couple stinkers in my opinion, but overall, it has been an incredible career and continues to grow. And you can't deny that. You can't. I understand you have hate in your heart, but you don't need to always let it out. It's kind of like don't be a hater. Just respect
Accept
that someone
respect
respect that someone is
is
able to do something. Like you can say I don't like that, but you don't have to hate the person that's putting out their art.
It's, you know what it is? It's the fucking gatekeepers that are like goofy. Like they don't like the whole Machine Gun Kelly thing. Like that dude is opening doors for everybody.
There's more rock. There's more rock in the world right now because of it. I mean, I hate to admit that. I wish it came from the rock world that brought out the rock world, you know, but it's taken someone in the pop world or hip hop world, whatever you want to call it, to raise up the rock. And I know MGK. Like I've known him for years. He's a really cool dude. And
I was on 2014 Warped Tour with him. So I mean, he's been in the world. I mean, he opened his mouth. He
loves rock. He loves rock. He always has. Like he's a hip hop artist, but he's always been. And that's another thing is, once you get pigeonholed, like you have one form of art, you're not allowed to do another form of art. That's bullshit.
Yeah, it's goofy. You should be able to do whatever you want, whenever you want, and not be gate kept to anything. Like some of these rock, hardcore, like pop punk, like putting things in a bucket or in a thing is ruining music.
Absolutely.
Especially like, all right, I'm going to say this flat out to Spotify. Fuck you. You should put a donation button on each artist's profile.
Wow.
Like that should be a thing that is, take the Twitch element and put it in Spotify. There's no reason that you shouldn't be able to donate to bands on their Spotify page that goes directly to the band, because Spotify is already fucking everybody. And it's the only place they're going to listen to music. So it's like they're monopolizing it.
I still use Apple Music, but
you know what I mean? Like, all right, so those two, I'd make that argument for both. Is like
right.
You're
and
paying,
you know, that goes back to like, are you Android or iOS? You know, it's like those are the two things. If you're Android, you typically use Spotify. If you have Apple, I mean, everyone has Apple though, but like you still, I use Apple Music because it's easier. It's easier for me to not have to go to a separate app and do all that. I'm lazy as fuck. And if all my shit's working on one thing, ain't broke, don't fix it. You know, like fuck it.
Yeah. But like there should be a way to like subscribe to your favorite band, like where you go on that Spotify or Apple Music. Like
I feel you on that. I think that here's the thing. A big company like that is never, they're not going to listen to this fucking podcast and go, oh, Josh, fuck yeah, we should listen to him. You know, what I feel and what I think the future is for a lot of bands is creating your own world where you can get that directly.
I 100% agree.
You create your own world where if you like this and you want to be a part of this, and you're willing to shed your money for whatever reason, you know, and you want to be a part of this, I, as an artist, am going to do my very best to create something amazing for you and give you the best product I can for your dollar. And now we have a direct connection. It's not, oh, now you're going through a major label. Now you're going through YouTube. Now you're going through Spotify. Now you're going through whatever. There's a middleman and all that. I'm going to create the same shit. As long as you are sourcing me, I will give you the benefit of your money right directly back to you.
Yeah. And that's how it should be. I mean, it's the thing is music rules the world, but the last person to get that money is the musician, which is so unfortunate. Like it's crazy that
I mean, you could say that about a lot of art though. I mean,
art, yeah, in general, creatives are like, everyone benefits from the creations, but the creators are getting the least amount of everything. You know, it's all the people in the background. Right. Because most creators aren't entrepreneurs.
Not to get too philosophical, but like, hasn't that always been the case? When has the artist ever been also the conglomerate? It's never been the case.
It's never. And it's because a lot of artists aren't entrepreneurs and a lot of entrepreneurs aren't artists.
Right. Like, so there has to be that marriage, right? At the end of the day, you have to find that marriage.
And that's what I try to do. Like I try to create, I like to do the same thing. I like to create worlds where people, that's why like me as an entity, I want to be an empire where it's like, all right, I know where to, I have a company called Horror Hub, and it's an Amazon Etsy style thing just for horror. People know to go, like we've been developing it like all year. It's like a thing that like where you're going to go to find masks, props, everything in this world. You know, we're creating that thing, or it's like, oh, I know what the strange and unusual, like the, you know, anything that Josh does, I know that I'm going to like it. You know, that's basically kind of what I want to create. And I think I agree. It's like starting those worlds are the only thing that sucks is people are, the end of the day, they're lazy. So it's like opening up that Apple Music and being like, oh, I want to listen to, say, let's say Avenged had another world. Are they going to want to leave their Apple Music to go to this world and then to go back to listen to Drake? You know what I mean?
Right.
So
it would take a new platform where you could find all those worlds. And there's debate. I mean, this isn't anything new for people in the know of the industry. We're constantly trying to find new ways to ingratiate ourselves into and use this new technology. This is all brand new shit to everybody.
Bands need to do it, not conglomerates. Exactly. It's like, you need to do it. I need to do it. Like, you know, we need to do it. Kevin Lyman needs to do it. Fucking Danny Wimmer needs to do it. Like, because we're in the music industry. We know that we're the ones struggling. And it's not about, let's see, this is where it gets a little funky for me, is because when we're talking about it and we're like, we're negating the fact that these fans are giving their money for it, right? And we're like, oh man, we're getting screwed by here, and you know, this place and that place, and it sounds to the consumer like we're complaining. And it's not like I'm complaining about my life or anything like that. It's just there are people that along the way from your consumer money to the artist, there's people along the way that are taking that maybe necessarily didn't really do much to deserve that. And I think who's paying their money deserve to know where it's going. Yeah, it's not the consumer. They're the last person I'd complain about. They're paying, they're buying what's put in front of them. And I would do the same thing. I have a Spotify account.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have an Apple account. Like, I use it. Like,
wait, you do have subscriptions? You don't actually just steal them?
My business pays for them. But no, like, I have them. I use it. It's readily there. Like, I haven't bought I buy albums, but still, like, I haven't bought a CD in forever. You know what I mean? Like, right. So the thing is, like, if you buy
vinyl of something like it's very special and you listen to it through vinyl, but other than that, you're streaming.
There needs to be someone needs to revolutionize the world in that world. Like, all right, so I'm going to lay this very, very much out. And like, the last tour I did was Korn and Breaking Benjamin, giant tour. It was fucking, we did.
That must have been a really great one.
10,000 people a night. It was a month-long tour. We did it in a bus. At the end of that tour, Financials they did whatever. By the time we got paid, it was a month later, so it was 2 months long. And I remember they direct deposited $3,000 in my account, $1,500 a month to do it was an arena tour.
Right.
And at that point, I was just like, this is one of the biggest tours we've ever done. And by the time it got to me, I got $3,000.
Well, let's break that down a little bit, because I've been in similar situations, and you learn from it and you adjust, and heads roll a little bit. Let's be honest, heads roll when that shit happens.
Yeah.
But when you break down the cost of everything, like at first you get really mad about it, right? And then you realize where those different costs are coming in, and you can get mad about it. This is one thing you cannot deny: math is universal. Yeah. And at a certain point, A plus B equals fucking C. And like, that's just what it is. So you look at it and you go, oh, well, fuck, we did agree to that. We did agree to that. We did agree to that. And it's like, yeah, at the end of the day, you're just doing a numbers game. And then you go like, okay, well, now I need to learn how to make those numbers different. You know what I'm saying? Rather than blaming it on somebody else, you go, okay, learning experience. Now I need to go. And I think you're getting to that, because it was the last story. You're like, for you said, fuck it, I'm going to do something else. Yeah. But if you wanted to continue, I think the path beyond that is to go, not making that mistake again. I'm going to actually watch these fucking numbers.
Yeah. And that's what I mean. When you think about it, I mean, how much is a bus a day? $1,500 a day. Mm-hmm. Your lighting rig, your management gets 20%. Your booking agent gets 15%. Your business manager gets 5%. You're a front of house guy. You're looking at what, $1,000, $1,500 a week. You get your guitar techs. Well, not yours. Yours are private. I don't want to know what yours are. I'm sure you're paying. I'm sure you're paying $3,500 to $4,500 a week.
Like a lot of like we didn't think of it when we started out in a fucking van touring together as just buddies. You know, you don't think about that shit. But as it grows, it becomes a fucking business. And now you're a business owner and you have employees, 30 plus employees when you're on the road. Not to mention the ones that are at home doing it.
You put people on retainer.
We have done it a couple of times with very close ones. We haven't jumped into the full retainers yet.
Which is like, it's so stressful. Like I have 20 some employees and like, I'm stressed because some of them have children.
Right.
You know what I mean?
No,
they
that's
have families.
That's,
like
you're right. You are, a lot of people don't understand that. Like when you talk about like in the music world, because they're an art, because you're talking about an artist, you're not thinking about everyone else that's underneath, not even underneath. I hate using that word, but like people that are helping them around them. The circle, they're paying those people out. Like this is a business. Back to like a Taylor Swift or a Justin Bieber. You know how many employees he's keeping or she's keeping in making money right now? Like that is an insane. It's an insane business.
Her circle's got to be 100 deep. Making
come on, easily.
I'm saying like the circle is 100 deep, probably making $100,000 a year minimum. Like for her circle.
Yeah. Like and then it gauges just like any other corporation. That's the other thing. People, I think when you think of music, you don't really think about the business side of it. Naturally, and you really shouldn't. I mean, let's keep the art, right? But we're talking right now, and we're not playing music right now. So let's take that hat off and let's talk about like the business side of it. There is, when you look at it, it's its own corporation. An artist is its own corporation,
and you don't realize it. I think that's the number one. Is like. You go in, you sign a shitty record deal because you just want to make music, and that's it. Because you want people to see your passion, so you make all these terrible deals, because you don't understand. And that goes back to the thing where I said, artists aren't entrepreneurs, and entrepreneurs aren't artists. There is obviously both. Like I try to do both. Course. You know,
everyone tries to. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
It's you learn your lessons and you do things wrong and you do things right. But no, it's a corporation. It's a business. You have to go in with your head right and make the right decisions, which sometimes you can't. There's no other.
And it has
options.
To be a learning. It ends up being a learning thing too, because everyone asks the question of like, why were they a one-hit wonder when they're just talking about whoever? Why did they only do this and then the next thing happened? It's like, well, maybe they didn't have the mind to. They were an artist that made great art and didn't have the mind to. You have to have the mind for longevity in it and learn from the business side of it.
Yeah, and that's what I wanted to do with Motionless. I wanted to build Motionless as a brand, not just a band. I wanted it to be an entity, an empire. But me and Chris, like I said, we butt heads, and he like saw it differently. And I was just like, you know what? I can't go and do this because like I understand where it needs to be and where it needs to go to become an Avenged, a Slipknot, a Metallica, like. There's certain steps where you have to build a brand. Like Avenged Sevenfold is not just a band anymore. It is a brand. It is a way of life. It's a lifestyle. You know what I mean? Like, you know that. There's people that are wearing the death bat on their shirt that have no idea who Avenged Sevenfold is.
And to that point, like, that's not something that we set out to do. It's something that we recognized along the way and go, oh, well, fuck, we're actually doing something really cool. Let's continue this for those who want this. Like, this is something that they want. It's not something that we're just like shoving down their fucking throats. You know, it's like, oh shit, you guys want this? Let's fucking go. Like that's the learning curve over the years as you start going and you just go like, okay, let's go. You guys want this? You want to be a part of this? Let's give you everything that we can. We're going to put everything that we have in our lives to this. And that realness comes across. There's a lot of artists and stuff that don't follow that. And I feel for them and their fans because you're like, well, what's going to happen 5 years from now? I mean, are they going to still give it their all? You know, it's like you always look at Metallica. Everyone could talk about like their albums in between and this album's bad, whatever. The bottom line is they're giving their all to their fans, and they have for fucking 40 years now.
Their live show, they had fireworks,
insane. It's fucking insane.
huge. I was like, this is insane. I'm like, I like Metallica. I don't love Metallica. I like Metallica. And just watching them and like their productions, because they could have come out on stage and just played. Could have spent $0, taken their. I'm sure they got paid millions of dollars. They
You
could have
know,
just
you know,
taken
it's
that
really
and just
funny.
walked.
From my understanding, and I don't mean to out anything, so I won't go too deep. But everything that they get for their shows, for the most part, they put that money right back into the production of that show. And instead of like worrying about an overhead cost or anything like that, it's pretty much goes right back into the consumer's dollar. You know, like they're putting it out there and going like, "Fuck it, we're here for you," and it shows. Like it
You have to
really
spend
does
money.
show.
You have to spend money to make money. Even in that world, is like it's going to happen. And the more you spend on customer retention, it's whether I spend, $20 a click on Facebook or a $20 gift pack to send to kids in a street team, it's still customer retention. Or putting pyro or production. Like I still remember when you guys had that body that came from the trussing and was hanging in the.
That wasn't a body. That was a person.
All right, so a fucking person. That was how many years ago was that?
I was on the Nightmare Tour, so that was it's almost 10 years ago now. Yeah.
I remember that like it was fucking yesterday. Like it's in my head. I remember watching the video. I never saw it, but I remember watching a video and going, "Fuck, damn it, that was good." And then like that, it was like that's customer retention. Like you put that money in, you hired a human being to go on the trussing and fall. That's customer retention.
I would like to share a little story, if you don't mind, about that, so that it doesn't
to.
come off like that was not a corporate, brilliant fucking idea or anything like that. This was right off the. This was our first tour without our brother Jimmy, and this was how we felt. We put it all out there. This is that Nightmare album is exactly how we felt at the time. We wrote that record with Jimmy. We finished that record with Jimmy, for all intents and purposes. And then we had, Mike Portnoy had to come in and play Jimmy's parts. But he played Jimmy's fucking parts. He played a couple of different things, but he played fucking Jimmy's parts.
Yeah,
the album was done.
Yeah.
The lyrics weren't done yet. So Matt went in and made lyrics and continued the vibe, and it just became about the way that he spoke for the rest of the band, honestly. And then there's songs like Sin wrote the lyrics for So Far Away. Everything about that album was how we were feeling at the time. And we were not planning on touring when we finished that record. We just didn't think that was even a possibility. So when we thought about a production for it and what it would be, we were like, fuck it. What if we just throw out the way that we feel right now? And we don't really want to be here, in a lot of respects. Like we do, don't get me wrong, but peel back the layers, okay? So one of the layers is I don't want to be here. There's other layers of course, I have to be here. But let's peel one of the layers and say I don't want to fucking be here. I've lost my fucking best friend. What would I do on the trust right there? And the first couple, we actually asked our monitor guy to do it first. We're like, hey, we rigged it up. And he's like, yeah, I'll fucking do it. And he goes out there and he stood out on rehearsals. He's like, I can't fucking do it. We had another guy named, and we dubbed him Cowboy. He was an amazing human being. He played the fiddle like nobody's believed. Like he dressed up like for work. And then as soon as he was done, he threw on some shitty ass overalls and played the fiddle and fucking dipped and drank George Dickel. Amazing human being. And he was the one who's like, fuck it, I'll do it.
He's not a lighting guy, is he? Is he a tech?
He's a tech. I don't think he techs anymore. He had a farm. Like, I don't even know why.
I know somebody that was in the Day to Remember camp. I think that his name was Cowboy. So I was wondering if it was the same. Probably not the same.
He might have. I don't know. I mean, that might be a pretty common nickname amongst roadies, right?
Yeah. So he was just like, yes, I'm going to do it.
Yeah. And he just went for it. And we were just like, fuck yeah. I mean, like we had a bungee and everything. Like we made sure it was safe. But looking back on it 10 years later, I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, we came up with this idea. worked with our production manager to design it, and didn't hire someone specifically for it. We just asked the crew members.
I love that because Motionless was the same way. We did a lot of our. I used to have a lighting rig under my keyboard to push like shit and stuff like that, and like we all of our team always did other shit. Like there's like the tour manager would dress up, like we did like creatures. Sometimes the tour manager would dress up, or like we had some like people's girlfriends were on tour and they would dress up and come on stage. So like we did the same shit. But I mean, I'm telling you, that made such an impact on me as when that came out that I was like, man. That is it. And I'm telling you, that's customer retention. Back to that whole thing of like, you put that money in, you designed that thing and spent the money to bring someone back to the next show and wanting more. That's what you want is that. So it's a business.
If you bring up the business side of it, absolutely. And of course I think you create art for art and then hope the business comes later. But along the way, you still have to pay attention to it. And you're right. Like if you're like, well, what's going to keep them what's going to put the masses in the seats, as they say. And, do
you guys have a keyboard player?
What's that?
You have a keyboard player or use tracks?
We use tracks. We've always,
fuck you.
The tracks put you out of business, my friend.
I know. Bobby says I got replaced by a space bar. And I was like, I know.
Yeah. Well, though, if we were more predominantly and it was written in the music, I think we would have a keyboard player.
Write it in the next album and call me. Easy.
Well, I mean, unfortunately, our guitar player does all the keyboard stuff. So
let him write it and I'll just play it.
And then Jason Freeze comes in too when we're in the studio. Jason Freeze is an amazing keyboardist.
Madman. Yeah, that's like unfair. I suck. I'll play like.
I wouldn't say you suck. I wouldn't say that. Like, no, you could say that, but no one else can say that.
Fair. But no, I
mean, Jason's amazing though. He comes in with his fucking different, he comes in with a fucking box of different fucking keyboards and just fucking destroys it every time. Last 2 albums we've actually had him come in, and it's been amazing to see him work.
No, it's honestly every album is always so good, and it's like. It's crazy. Like I can't see what you got. I can't wait to see what you guys do next. It's gonna be fucking insane. But like, I think you guys, going back to business, it better be fucking good. I know you're gonna put out a new album.
I don't know. This is an honest answer. Like, here's the deal. After releasing so many albums and so much music, at a certain point, you just go like, I actually don't really fucking know if this is good. Like, I like it. That's all I can do at a certain point. And to the point of Metallica and touring with them, that's something that Lars and the guys had said before, is just like, right in the moment, right for yourself. You can't keep chasing what they're going to want.
Yeah.
You're going to fuck yourself.
Yeah.
So don't chase what they want. Chase what you want, And so at that point, you just go, well, fuck it. I'm going to write the record I want to write. I'm going to put everything I can. I think it's fucking good. And I hope everyone else does too. And that's the only thing you can do at that point. If you're chasing the dragon of like, here's the next fucking hit, here's the next fucking this, here's the next that, you're going to fuck yourself.
That's true. I always say I'm going to get back into music, and it's like, I want to. And I put out a couple songs here and there. But I want to, if I do it and I do it again, like do it again, like not just like put out a song here and there. Like I want to do it right. Like I want to have fucking like, I want to have fun and enjoy myself. I want to bring like Danny Elfman in to help co-produce it, like that kind of shit. I love theatrical. Like I was actually talking to Zachy about it yesterday, like 2 days ago. I was like, I want to do, like gothic, like theater style, like almost kind of how like a mixture of, let's say, you guys and my chem, you know what I mean? But with like a gospel, like a gospel is kind of like like a Leonard Cohen.
Sounds almost very Spanish, because what's really funny about I'm digressing here a little bit, but Brian brought this up before. He said, do you realize that the English language has a lisp? Because we always look at the Spanish language as like when Spaniards from actual Spain have a lisp when they talk. But is a lisp. And how many times have you heard in the English language? We
I
have
don't
a
know.
fucking lisp. This is one of those things. It's self-awareness. We have a fucking lisp, but we don't even fucking realize it.
Like just listening to you talk about going lisps. I'm like, wait, I'm trying to dive into it. Now I'm going to think about it fucking the rest of my life.
Oh yeah,
Thank you.
I just ruined your fucking day. I
just
fucking ruined your day.
opened a box of nothingness and who knows, like, but I don't fucking God damn it.
No, yeah, no. Now it's happening. I actually have to bail on this combo. I had so much fucking fun with this, Josh.
I feel like we can talk for 500 hours. And
we
I feel
really
like
could, and hopefully people will listen. And if they don't, oh, beautiful background right there. That's a way to send it off right there.
Yeah.
I will say real quick. I hope that you do get back into music, and I think you have a lot to give, and I think everyone would love it. And maybe just as another thing, don't think about just the lisp. Think about keyboarding. That's the worst way of saying it. Playing the keys and conducting, creating scores.
Yeah.
You're really into horror. You're really into this stuff. I mean, I've met several dudes who have a really knack for music, and they just don't know how they're going to create it with a band and deal with that. You on your own can just create scores and be Josh Balz, the fucking next Danny Elfman, the next fucking Tyler Bates. You can do this if you wanted it. You know what I mean? Like, get in there, do the fucking thing, and be the next composer to all of our favorite movies.
Ooh. That feels good. I might cry.
Just think about that and lisp, and then we'll have another conversation soon.
All right, come do drinks with Johnny at my bar.
I would love to. Let's plug the bar. Where's the bar at right now?
So Noir is at Scranton in Pennsylvania, and we're open Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We have a crazy menu. We have dry ice that all of our drinks fucking smoke. We have a drink right now. It's called the Bobbing for Apples. It actually is a giant cauldron with smoke that comes out of with apples. It's a shareable drink. We have a killer clown drink, which comes with cotton candy and a gummy eyeball that falls out when they do a pour over. Like, it's a fun environment. Our food, we have cow tongue on stuff. We have crickets in some of our desserts. Like, it's a very fun situation. So, I mean, definitely if you guys are watching, Drinks with Johnny, I would love to have his IPA at my bar. I told you that.
Yeah, and I would love it to be there too. I gotta work on that. We're working on the second release of the beer.
If you need help with like a major brewery, let me know.
Dude, I might. I mean, I have your number. I'll talk to you. We'll talk.
Call me.
Thanks again for being on the show, man. I really appreciate it. And everyone go check out more Josh Balz everywhere on Instagram. We'll put a little thing right there. Twitter, all that stuff. I'm sure you got all of it. And go check out the bar. Go check out The Strange and Unusual. I'm going to go by there and I might end up actually buying something because I don't have anything. All my shit's fake. I'm looking at.
Yeah, we gotta put. I know. I'm looking. I'm like, we need some real stuff. I'm gonna send you some of my parlor root beer to put up on that shelf too.
That's right. We gotta check out that root beer.
We'll send it.
How does it work with a float? My son really likes floats. Can we? How's it? What do you do? Vanilla bean or just straight vanilla?
Vanilla bean is the way to go, and there's a butterscotch. So I have a butterscotch flavored root beer. So butterscotch flavored with vanilla bean is like unstoppable. And also you can do like the butterscotch flavored root beer or the regular root beer, and then add vanilla stoli for like a root beer float mixer kind of situation.
This is coming from a straight edge guy, but he still owns a bar. And that's actually a really brilliant thing right there. So I appreciate that.
I'll send you
the drinkers, I love it.
It's for everybody.
Man. Yeah, exactly. I appreciate you, man. We'll talk soon.